Hello and welcome to tier list review of Stand or Starve, the board game. This is Jonas. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jonas and part of the Satsari team and also part of the Stand or Starve team.
Yes, and I'm then Genja. Both were from the same company then, and yeah, he works with marketing. I work with R&D mostly.
Yeah.
Today we're here to review the cards from the base game, and we have different opinions. We're gonna make a tier list of both event cards and tool cards. So you think we should start with the tool or event cards? What do you think?
I think let's start with the event cards. I think they're more...
Really?
Yeah. They're more fun.
Okay.
Personally, I think so.
So event cards, they affect all the players in the game Stand or Starve, and in different ways. The first card that we're gonna take a look at is called Frozen Era. What does that do?
So the Frozen Era cards removes 20 food from everyone for 2 cycles. So basically, so every turn it removes, or every cycle it actually removes 20 food cards. Or not the specific cards, but...
Let's be clear, it's additional 20. So
yeah.
If a normal cycle is 10 food card, then it would be 30 food. And for me, I don't know what about you, but I would actually place it, I think, at A tier.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of not overpowered. I mean, it will not make or break the game for you, but you have a chance to kind of time it.
Yeah,
so if your opponent has few food cards, they immediately lose the game, actually.
Yeah. So just to make one thing clear, so the event cards and the card stack is actually mixed. So that means you can't actually choose which card you get from. But if you draw that card, the specific, it can change the game. So I would say, I would also put it at A, because either it can be a curse card, because you can pretty much shoot yourself, or it can actually change the tide of the game to make one of the opponents go out instead.
I would say it's a pretty strong card.
Yeah,
just to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. So the next card we're looking at is Immigration. Immigration actually lets you pick a free villager or a free warrior, and it's specifically this cycle. I don't know. For me, I would say this one I would put at B, because it's a bonus, I would say. I don't know if it doesn't really skew the advantage in either direction.
No, I would I'm hesitant. I would put it at C as well, because if you're at max villagers, you have to choose a warrior. Sure, a warrior is also always nice, but this affects all players. So all the players get a villager or a warrior.
So you would say it's a weak card?
Yeah, I would say so. It doesn't really...
I mean, you can be strategic about the game.
Yeah.
It depends in which timing it comes. So if it's at late stage, one warrior is not going to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But and if it's early, and if you kind of go for the economy route,
sure.
It's not that a big
Okay, so B sounds...
B, C, maybe you're right. Maybe we should put it at C. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll reevaluate after. So I tend to agree with this. All right, let's keep going, because there is a lot of cards to cover in this session. We're gonna post it as a whole. We'll probably not edit it.
We're just gonna release it as one video. Also,
maybe we could divide it in 2 sections, like event and tool.
We'll make some timestamps or something.
Yeah. All right, the next card we have is Golden Era. That means that the production from all stations is doubled for 1 cycle. So this card benefits specifically those who expand in the game early. Yeah. So if you have a lot of stations, you're gonna benefit from this card. If you chose to kind of turtle up early in the game, you're not gonna benefit as much. So this I like this card, because this card, I like to play offensively. I'm that type of player. I would kind of expand a lot and try to control the game, even if it bites my ass, because we noticed that the first player that gets a lot of territory, the other players will punish that player.
This kind of suits my playstyle as well. I usually like to cover specific areas of the map to have some control of it, and maybe to not over expand into other territories. So I would say this card also suits me quite well.
I think you usually go for the food station.
Yeah.
He's greedy.
I love the food, man. I love the food.
He loves food.
But yeah, that's true too.
So what you would say? What's the tire that we should? Maybe it's 8 here. I think.
Yeah, I would say so too, because it's if one player chooses to go for an aggressive play without taking a lot of stations, for example, try to beat the players early, and this card comes up, all the other players can actually benefit from it. So it's quite a strong card, I would say.
So let's put it at 8 then.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have the Peaceful Era card. What this card does is that no combat is allowed for 2 cycles, which means no fighting basically between the factions.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I personally I hate this card.
So yeah, this card kind of changes the pace of the game a little bit, because, for example, if I'm playing aggressively, this can put a halt on me to get my opponents to actually recover.
You can also do pretty like nasty tricks, I think, with this one, because like you can prepare a station because no fighting is allowed, so you can still expand, and you can block someone that kind of wanted to go that route, but since you can't fight, like you can block someone off. So you can set up for a flank, for example. You can come from the side and cut the resources off, so the other player would lose all of their central pieces. Let's say it like that. It's a strong card, but I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a positional card.
So I would kind of set it somewhere between B and B.
B and A. Maybe it is a strong card. It's like I'm hesitant here.
So I would just, to be safe, put it at B because it's situational. That's my opinion.
True. Let's put it at B.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see. Let me just adjust the image size here because it gets quite big, and we will zoom in the cards so you can easier see the tire list and what the card actually does. Okay.
Yeah. Next one.
The next card we have is Drought, and you can take this one. You can explain it.
Yeah. So the Drought basically means no production from food stations for 2 cycles. And this card can be a player killer, basically.
Yeah.
So since if you, for example, say that you, on your turn, you said like, I got kind of a lot of food, or maybe you don't have a lot of villagers and you need to strategically produce wood or metal, and you have a lot of food on the map, if this card is picked, you're kind of,
Usually you're screwed by this card because you, as I said, he loves to go for the farms. So if there is no food and if you're playing like kind of greedily, and that's the magic in this game, is that you're kind of enticed to spend all your food to expand quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you do that, you're taking high risk. Yeah, exactly. You never know when the drought is coming. So if you don't have anything in the stockpile, oh boy.
Yeah.
I think this is an S tier card.
Because
it's a game changer. Directly you can see the shift in the mentality.
Exactly, because this you can kill. As I said, it's a player killing card. So
let's put it at S.
Yeah, I would say so.
Similarly, we have the Dark Era card, which actually halts all production.
Yeah.
So the difference here is that the drought? How do you say drought?
The drought.
It blocks only the food stations, but the Dark Era is even worse actually because it blocks all production.
Exactly. So basically, Dark Era is a maxed out version of the drought card. Yeah. So I would say this is
even stronger.
This is a S plus card.
Yes.
So I would.
But to keep it simple, we will just put everything in S. Like if it's a super strong card.
Yeah.
It's rare though. We will also maybe we'll have to reevaluate if we have too many S cards. Then
just to make sure, we have our base rules and base cards, of course. With all reviews of games and everything, we will check out these cards and maybe in later renditions of the game, of course, make balance changes.
Of course. So S tier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It's a little bit slow. There you go. So the next card we have, and we're almost halfway through all of the events card,
Yeah.
is called Earthquake. What this thing does is that it removes every second road on the map, which really slows down the game.
Yeah.
So that means it's kind of a reset of the game.
Yeah, but also what this does, for example, say that I focus a lot on food.
Yeah.
This means if I haven't gotten enough wood cards, I need to switch all my production to wood to be able to reach back to my stations and everything.
And again, this card really punishes the offensive players, because if you expand and you control a lot of stations, which gives you a lot of resources, of course, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But that actually benefits the defensive players.
Yeah,
because they
exactly.
still get the resources from their capital.
Yeah.
With that said, I would also say that, well, since you can draw this card early in the game, it doesn't really affect the game that much. But if you draw it late game,
Yeah,
it actually
exactly.
changes the whole outcome. So this
Yeah.
one is a little bit of a, I don't know, it's a toss-up for me.
Yeah,
I
I would say A, somewhere
I would
between.
say B even. Actually.
Yeah, so-
It's a strong card. It's a comeback card
Yeah,
sometimes.
Okay, so yeah. I
But
would say between
if we're
A
gonna
and
judge by the fun factor, I would also say this one is a little bit lower because it makes the game longer, and some
Yeah.
people hate it.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's like,
so set it at B, I would say as well.
let's set it at B. Okay, let's see. It takes a little bit of time. Next card we have is Rain Season. So what Rain Season does is that it doubles the production from food stations, and specifically food stations, for one cycle. It kind of makes sense. It's raining, so the growth is doubled.
Exactly. so this is
intuitive. Yeah.
As I said before, I love food. This is my lovely card. But I would also say this also benefits expansion and food stations of the map. So whoever has the territory in most food stations, this actually does benefit. But the thing is, if someone at the opposite, for example, I like to stack food and food stations. If I pull this card, I will get ahead of the other players on food, which can actually make me in the long run win by not starving.
I would say it's an A tier, actually.
Yeah.
And also, of course, this tier list, it depends on the playstyle that you play.
Of course.
I mean, but for example, for you love to push the farms or like kind of collect them and control them. You can of course use the villagers in the capital to produce more food.
Yeah.
But then maybe you don't have enough wood and metal cards.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say it's an A tier, especially if you push farms and you got this card, you're set. That means either you're not starving or you have a lot of extra food in the stockpile.
Yeah.
All right, next one we have the food event card.
Yeah.
Flood.
Flood. Yeah.
Flood.
Flood.
Okay, no production from stations for 2 cycles. So again, it's a kind of punishing event cards. Normally, actually, I think you can see a kind of a trend here that there is more punishment than benefit from the event cards, and that is because we want to kind of shift the dynamics of the game here. And this one specifically affects stations. So once again, we're punishing people that are expanding quickly.
Yeah.
Because those are also the people that tend to get a lot of resources from stations and control most of the map. So if you're losing, here's a kind of a tip for you guys. Try to play an event card to halt the production from the opponent side, and in that time you can actually take control of stations. So when the resources come back, like online, you're kind of stealing from that player.
Exactly, but yeah. So the thing with event cards that's the main part of it as well is you will never know which card you will pull. So it can be a chance to actually turn the tide, but you can actually shoot yourself in the foot as well.
Yeah.
I would say this is a pretty strong card as well.
I mean, since it affects all stations and everyone, you kind of can't. I mean, like, it's not like Peaceful Era, because Peaceful Era you can still maneuver and, like, get resources.
Yeah.
Maybe it's above Peaceful Era, but I wouldn't say it's an A tier though.
No,
at least not for me. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I would say it depends on the playstyle.
B+.
So, yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to put like exact.
I would say let's be safe and put it at B.
Yeah. But at least, I mean, both of us, we do like agree. It's not like one of us is putting it like, C tier and one of us is putting S tier.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
most of the cards, we feel like we have the same ideas, at least.
I think so as well.
So next up we have a bandit raid. What bandit raid does is that, as bandits do, they steal. So they take resources from you, but only if there is something to take, and they take 10 of each resource. So that means 10 food, 10 metal, and 10 wood.
Yeah.
And there's an additional text that says here, none if there is none.
Exactly.
So if you're actually an aggressive player,
yeah,
this card actually benefits you.
Yeah, it's sure, but at the same time, if you're an aggressive player and you have one of each and you lose everything, and then maybe later another event card is played, which halts all production, then you can kill yourself pretty quickly
as well. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, so I would say this, for people who expand a lot by a lot of villagers, by a lot of warriors, a lot of roads and towers and similar, this card is actually more punishing.
But I don't know if I agree actually, because still, I think this card actually punishes the people that they hoard resources.
No, because
okay, let me give you an example. Let's say I have 20 food.
Yeah.
And I have nothing else because I've built towers, I have built roads, I have warriors. That means you're only stealing from me 10 food.
Yeah.
But from another player, you're stealing 10 of each. So in total, they're actually losing
more resources. But at the same time, if I have 10 food, 10 wood, 10 metal, one loss is less for me than if I would have one of each, and that's the total cards I have. So that would punish me more. So this kind of punishes not hoarding.
It can be. Yeah. It can be. Yeah. I mean, I think specifically if you have 20 food, it's the only advantage. Because if you have 10, let's say, and you're keeping it at the minimum, then all of a sudden you have 0.
Yeah.
And then you're out of the game. Because you didn't. That means this game is also like a kind of dynamic, if we have to kind of explain why it is like this. It's like if you try to stockpile too much, then you lose on territory, but if you're too aggressive, then you're punished if something happens.
Exactly.
And you never know. So
I would kind of put this at B or C. This is very specific. I would even rather put it at C.
B. I would say B still. I want to bump it because I do like it. Like if I get this card, I'm happy. So maybe it's not A tier. I do recognize it's like it's 10. It's 10.
But I could agree with B. Yeah, but it would be the lower B.
The lower B. Yeah. Well, I can put it on the. I think I'll actually in this tier list they always put on the right side.
Yeah.
Let me just check 1 second here. Oh, good. I was actually scared that we didn't record anything. Okay. Back to the cards.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Inspired. What Inspired does is that it gives you the opportunity to put 2 free roads anywhere on the map. This one, I don't know. For me, it's a C because you kind of can make some tricks with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Since you can put it anywhere on the map.
Exactly.
That's a difference. That's a difference.
So why I think this is a very tactical card. That means if I, for example, see an opponent trying to attack another player, he puts 2 roads there. I can stick in and put a third one to connect them to actually create some
a bridge.
Yeah. So to create some
flanking opportunity.
Yeah, or not only flanking. I can basically kind of get the player to attack another player while I'm sitting back. So this is a very tactical card, I would say.
Yeah, but the reason I'm kind of leaning towards a C tier here, or maybe even a D, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're gonna use D tier. I don't know if it's that bad, but it's that if you draw this card late game, most roads are built.
Sure.
So it has kind of almost no effect even in the game, and even early, maybe it can give you some like rush to the middle opportunities.
Yeah, sure.
But other than that, it's a kind of a weak card.
It's a very tactical.
You need to, you can't have all strong event cards.
No.
It wouldn't work. So what you would say is B?
No, it's lower than B because it's very specific and very tactical.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it would be C. Yeah.
Let's go with C.
Yeah.
D tier should be. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So. It's not that horrible still, I would say. Alright, the next card that we have is called God's Gift. What this event card does, it is that it gives a free resource card for every player.
Yeah.
And once again, I think this kind of falls in the same category, that it's very strategic, because it could benefit you if you are missing some small resources to gain that extra advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's very like negligible, I would say.
Yeah. And also that everybody gets this opportunity at the same time.
So, yeah.
So it's basically, it can turn some tides, but...
And once again, I think late game, this card doesn't have that super big impact. It could, if you're the player that's actually the underdog, because let's face it, when you have the like center position, all stations, then 2 resources not gonna do anything.
No,
but
exactly.
if you're an underdog with let's say a tower, maybe you have a sword, then actually that small boost can give you some few extra warriors, which would then take over the map.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe high C tier, but I would still say C.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Let's go. We'll put it if it lets me. Okay, now. Alright, let's go. Almost done with the event cards. There is 14 of them. So, the number 13 event card is called the Deserter.
Yeah, so this card removes 1 warrior for each player this cycle. And also there's some extra text. None if there is none. And early game, I think this can be a really big game changer, because especially if you're doing some villager rush and you have a important tactical station and that's your only warrior, or for example you have a plan, this can actually turn some times. But I think this is situational too.
Yeah, probably, but I think this one again punishes kind of expansion players.
Yeah.
Because if you, let's say, expand and you're trying to expand to the middle where you have doubled the resources, and if you lose that warrior, that one warrior that gives you double the resources, that's bad. Like, that's not good. If you're defensive or you're rushing economy, for example, it's not that bad. I mean, like, like you don't care even. Like, I can just make a new one.
Exactly.
The extra text there says none if there is none. I mean, I think it happens extremely rarely, because normally you start with 1 warrior. So if you would have that 1 warrior, you would lose it. But if you have an early engagement, which can happen since the closest farm is always so close to your capital, it would actually really benefit you, because you already don't have a warrior. You lost it. So suddenly you have an advantage that you can actually come back, because all the other players, they lose their warrior. I mean, it's...
No, I would say B maybe, because it's very, it's early game, but in the late game usually you have more than 3, 4, 5 warriors anyways.
And it kind of also punishes the one with the fewer warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of a strange card there. I think B.
Yeah, B seems like
it can give you a nice advantage, but it can also like punish you. So I would say All right. Lastly, we have the Plague.
Yeah.
Wow, man, this card, like it's horrible. It removes a villager, like that hurts your economy for many cycles, because each cycle you use a villager. But what's good to know here is that if you have less than or equal to 2, you actually don't even lose 1.
Yeah.
Because we're the developers, and it's kind of logical that if you have less than 2, then you will never come back. Because you need 10 food to create 1. But if you only have 1 villager, then that's an infinite loop. So you would never...
Exactly. And also don't forget that for when you have passed 5 cycles, it will actually cost you 2 food cards each.
That you miss. Yeah.
Each card. So
this can actually kill off some players in the late game.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you haven't planned your capital villagers and everything like that. So I would say so.
But the thing that I like about this card, like, it is a punishing card.
Yeah.
But it actually punishes people that hoard resources more. So if you rush economy, for example, you're punished more. You have no stations. You only have villagers, and suddenly you don't have villagers.
Yeah.
And the guy that for example, like me, I play expansive. Like, I expand to the stations. If I already have 2 villagers, then nothing is changed, and I still have my stations. So defensive players are punished by this card.
So I would kind of put this as an A tier, because it's
a game changer.
Yeah,
early game, it is a game changer.
Yeah, even late game, because it can changes your food production totally.
Yeah, it can actually kill you off. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right. Yeah, you're right.
So I would
So,
say 80.
Let's put it at 80.
Yeah.
Let's see. That takes some time to upload. Change tier.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So with that said, we covered all of the 14 event cards
Yeah.
in the base game. We're planning actually to release 2 more expansions coming next year, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Um,
To say the first 2 expansions.
yeah,
We have more plans. Yeah, more plans.
we're working on it in the behind the scenes, which we actually, if I have time, I'm hoping I want to release some behind the scenes
Yeah.
kind of videos, so you guys can see and take part of the journey that
Yeah.
we're working on here. Okay, with that said, guys, let's continue.
Yeah.
Almost done here. It's gonna be a long video.
Yeah.
If you want to take a break, now is a good time to sip some water.
Exactly.
Let's do that as well
I've
together
actually
with the viewer.
Finished the water, but
shit.
yeah, but yeah, at the, about the tool cards. So the event cards, they actually, when you pull an event card, it actually changes it for all the players. The tool cards, what's interesting about them is it actually changes the player, or for the player who pulls a card.
So with an event card, you can kind of affect the whole board
Yeah.
and strategy as well.
Exactly.
But what I want to add to your explanation there is that the tool card can also punish you.
Yeah.
So
you can.
if you're like really greedy and you want to have only like upgrades for yourself, then actually you can get behind
Yeah.
if you got the wrong tool cards, which we
Exactly.
should also mention,
Yeah.
because it's not always like that you kind of get advantages.
Exactly.
Otherwise, everyone would always choose tool cards. But of course, given the powerful tool cards, you can actually have a massive advantage as well, which
Yeah.
we will cover.
Yeah.
So I
let's-
think just dive in and keep. There is 14 cards coming, so
Yeah.
take a drink of tea and just enjoy.
Yeah.
First card that we have is Shovel.
Oh.
With the Shovel, you get 10 extra food each cycle, and that is actually a forever card.
Yeah.
So
It's permanent.
yeah, it will consistently add to your resource pool, let's say. And I don't know about you, but I would say that food is kind of like one little bit above the
of the
most
rest.
important
Yeah.
resource cards, let's say. So I think this is a really strong card.
Yeah.
Is it an S tier though?
I would say so.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I don't know if I agree.
because early game, yeah, sure, you need food to do villagers, you need food for each
that's
past
true though, yeah.
every 5 cycles. But the later stages in the game, you have to pay the bank extra and more food. So the longer the game is,
The harder, yeah.
the more important the
It
food
becomes.
cards.
And then
actually
also,
becomes.
yeah, you're right. Actually, I would agree with that.
Because this card,
That's a S tier.
Yeah. Because,
When you say it like that.
yeah, because early game, this is a game changer. It gives you food. You don't even have to have a villager on the food station. You can, for example, produce even more villagers. So
yeah,
you
which
can-
also boosts your
Yeah,
economy.
exactly.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So this is an Esther card.
That's kind of a resource boost for the whole game. So
yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Then the next card that we have is a pickaxe. Well, a pickaxe gives you 10 extra metal each cycle,
Yeah.
also for the rest of the game. But bear in mind that metal is mostly used for warriors and towers.
Yeah.
I think I would still put this though at a high tier because
Yeah.
like you get resources all the time. It's like owning a station in a
yeah.
safe way. But is it S tier though?
No, I wouldn't say so, because you can still produce metal, but the thing is, if you're going for a real army expanding strategy, you need a lot of metal. So this way, I think this actually is the benefit. If you're a safe player, you still need warriors, of course, but it's not as important, I would say.
Yeah, and also I would like to add on that is that you can still cap on warriors.
Yeah.
So even if you have all the warriors in the game, you can't have more than 10 at a time.
Yeah.
Actually. So I think it's an A tier though, because it still gives
Yeah,
you that
yeah.
resource boost. So
Yeah.
getting more resources than your opponents is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Unless you play more than 2 players, or 1v1. So that means they can actually, it can be a negative effect in that way that they kind of gang up on you.
Yeah.
Which happened multiple times in
Yeah,
our games.
yeah.
It's like someone is getting just bashed because he has all the centerpieces.
Yeah, exactly.
And then suddenly you can see that they're losing the game.
Yeah.
So you have to be kind of smart with this card. I think like kind of sneaky, I don't know, rack up, materials.
Yeah, indeed.
Let's put it at 8 here. Yeah.
I would say so.
All right, next up, next card we have for you guys is Trader.
This card, I would say, this is 100% a S tier card, because this means at any time when it's your turn, you can trade one resource with the bank for another resource. That means you can only have food cards, and if you want to buy a road, you can trade with the bank instantly to get wood.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also like, if you think about it, like let's say you're pushed in a way, because you know how the map is designed, like you have the farms on the sides. So if you're forced out of the middle, you can kind of expand in the sawmill area in the middle. So you can trade wood for food.
Yeah.
And that way you can still survive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you, because it's like a 10, because that kind of means like instead of resources, you have like credits with the bank. So you can just like, you can really mass produce what you want, or you need food, you stockpile food.
This is just really insane card.
It's really a strong one. Yeah.
Esther.
I wouldn't say though. I'm not sure if it's the strongest card in the game as of now, but I would say it's up there. It's really second place, maybe. I would say.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Next up, we have for you another resource card, generating card. It's called an axe. An axe gives you 10 extra wood each cycle.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I would say, in my opinion, wood is the least important resource. It's important early game to actually expand your territory, or if you want to build towers and similar. But at the same time, in the late games, wood is always nice, but it's
yeah, I would agree with you. It's not the same it's not as strong.
No.
And but the good thing with this card though is like, because you have a tool that generates wood for you, you can focus on metal and food. And also, if you want another event card or tool card, you need to pay 10 of each.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's kind of good in that way too. So I'm kind of hesitant between A and B, but I still think
I would say B.
Maybe B. Yeah.
I would say so.
It doesn't have the same impact as like getting towers and warriors, which like protect yourself. Yeah. Let's go with the B here. All right. Next up, we have fortified walls. You can explain it.
Yeah, so fortified walls, it's basically the same as the sword card, but it only affects your capital. So it's a defensive card. If
we didn't cover though the sword card yet, so maybe you can just mention what it does.
So it adds 1 to your dice when you actually have combat on your own capital. So that means if you're feeling pushed or you're trying to turtle, this can be a really strong card.
Or I mean, even late game though, imagine you have a big attack coming to you, and you can really turn the game by protecting yourself with just a few warriors, because it's all about that statistical, I guess, push or advantage. It's not a guarantee, but a 1 on the dice actually has a 1 and a 6, 16% stronger attacks or defense in that case. Is it strong though? I mean, this is the thing. It's really not flexible. I mean, it's good in the early game if someone's really just rushing you with warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're building economy.
Yeah,
but
no, I would kind of put it at it's very situational. So it's a B.
Probably B.
Yeah. I would say so.
Let's put it in B tier then. I think it's a good position for that card, and continue to the next one now.
Yeah.
So the next card is called Peaceful Quill, and you can explain.
Yeah. So what Peaceful Quill does, it adds 1 extra cycle before any combat begins at you. So it affects your stations. It affects your even your capital and everything. So this card, I would say it's more of a strategic card, because you can do some more planning before you actually have to face a battle.
I mean, I think by the tone of your voice, it sounds like it's not a strong card. But for me, actually, I hate this card because you're thinking twice to attack someone because your warrior, he's gonna get stuck in that station before you got the chance to attack. So that one extra cycle, it can be really like annoying to deal with. And that guy, let's say he turtles in the middle and he gets the blue stations, which give you double the resource. The fact that he gets 2 cycles of the extra resource that he normally wouldn't get if he was attacking him, and like so, and also like you have the time to kind of move around a little bit before the attack.
But I wouldn't. This for me, I would say it's between B and A tier because it's very situational, and I think this is more of a strategic card.
I don't know if I agree with you, but okay.
No, that's my. I would say.
So you're between A and B.
Yeah.
But I would say A. So should we put it like B plus? But is it that A or B then? So I have no idea.
So it can be a quite, especially if you plan your moves ahead, it can be a very good card because you will be able to plan what you're gonna do after the battle already before.
I mean, it also gives you time, for example, like diplomacy-wise, you have more time to kind of convince other players that this guy is not a good player that is attacking and taking territory.
So and also this can give other players the time to flank the player attacking you. So
and also gives yourself time to flank. So
True.
If you have if you think about like a triangle, you can actually attack from another side, and if you cut off the middle warriors when you have like warriors between stations and stations.
Yeah.
Actually, those in the utmost station are lost instantly.
Yeah.
So I would say A tier.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. As we said, not all tool cards are plus cards.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just unlucky. Man. You're expanded, you're building that economy, and suddenly you get dirty cups. Like someone in the capital forgot to clean them.
Yeah. So this is a very, I would say, early. No, especially since it's food, since it removes 10 food from yourself for 2 cycles.
Oof, if you got this early game, you're screwed.
Even late game.
You need allies.
Yeah, even late game because if each round or each cycle costs you
more and more,
40 food to the bank,
it scales.
Another 10 food, it can doom you.
Yeah, and imagine you got like a frozen era and then you got dirty cups. So imagine you're in a freezing time and you don't even have clean food. You're puking all over the place. You have nothing to eat and you basically lose.
Yeah. So
I would say that's our first probably D card. Like that's so bad to get the store's card probably.
I would say this is probably the worst card
in the game. Right now, as of now, I think it's the worst in the game. That's just like
Yeah.
Okay, now we don't even see the cards. Okay, guys, we have to make the cards a little bit less. We're always gonna pull them up, so you will always be able to see. Let's see, it kind of works like that.
Yeah.
So we can continue.
Okay, next one.
Okay, next card is Rusty Sword.
Oh.
What do we say about this?
So Rusty Sword, what it does, it removes 1 from your dice. So, for example, 45 walls, it gives you +1 to the dice in your capital. What this does is as soon as each and every battle, if you roll 2, it means your 2 is actually a 1. But the good thing with this card is that you can actually pay 30 metal to remove it.
I say, how is that good though?
It's not permanent. It's not permanent.
Of course, yeah.
So I would say,
I mean, in the late game, the good thing with this card for balancing purposes is that if you have a really strong player that kind of pushes for victory and suddenly he gets Rusty Swords, that means actually that player is not as strong as you think, and suddenly he has to use resources to just equalize. So in that sense, there's always a risk of getting a tool card. You don't know what you get, but maybe he needs that extra advantage because there's towers everywhere if it's a defensive player. So what can you do? But is it a good card though? Of course not.
No,
Is it like game changing, like game breaking that you lost the game? Probably not.
No, it can be, but I would kind of put it not as D, but I would C.
Probably C.
Yeah. It's not a good card to pull.
But then again, you're paying metal to remove this.
Yeah, but I mean, if you if you
30
have,
metal is hard
yeah,
to. If you especially have warriors, it will take a long time to remove it.
sure. But I mean,
I want to make. I almost put it at D tier. Like that's.
no, because if you already have a lot of warriors, you can use your villagers to just produce metal instead.
True.
And
but then you're risking your food supplies.
yeah, but if you have maximum villagers already,
I mean, it's still a risk because it's the increase.
That's why I would put it at C. It's a really bad card, but it's not.
We would say
worst.
C minus. Let's put it at that.
Yeah.
So let's put it in C tier. All right. Let's go. We have next card. It is termites. What termites does is that you can freely choose 3 roads that you can disconnect. Actually, remove from the game. Termites eats roads. I mean wood. So and we have bridges in the game. Roads, bridges.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for me, it's really strong card because it's kind of strategic. You can disconnect a station, then suddenly you flank, and they can lose all their warriors in a second. It's like, what just happened? It's that kind of a strong card.
So this is a really, I would put this card really high actually.
But is it S tier though?
No, I would say it's a very situational, because late game probably you have a lot of roads, multiple connections.
And it's also a lot of resources.
Yeah, exactly. So I would kind of put it at A. It's situational. Early in game, this can be a really strong road.
You can really mess someone's game up with this one.
Especially if you just have one road and you remove the bottom parts.
Yeah, but if you're playing 4 people and you have already made an enemy, that can also be bad in the long run, because you never know how the other players are going to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I would say
A tier. I think A tier. Yeah. Okay, let's see. And the next card that we have is Rusty Shield.
Yeah.
Another bad card. There's a lot of bad cards coming.
Yeah.
Somehow they got lumped together. But yeah.
I think what's so horrible about this card is usually you don't have that much wood stack. I would say.
Because you don't prioritize, especially you. For you, that would be bad.
So. But
true.
I would kind of put this at the Rusty Cup in the C tier, because it's
Rusty Cup is actually in D tier, by the way.
Not the
C tier.
The C tier as the
metal one.
Yeah, exactly. So because this is slightly worse. This is I would say between C and D tier, because this can be annoying, but it's not the worst card since you can remove it.
True, but again, since the requirement is like a little bit over the metal.
Yeah.
And as you said, probably people not gonna focus on wood because there's a couple of strategies you can do. You can wait until your opponent build roads.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't build that much towers, etc. But I mean, still, 40 wood is a lot of wood.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm thinking maybe it's almost a D, like, in that sense, because think about it. That means one villager is still stuck on that wood tile. I mean, producing wood.
Yeah, exactly.
For an extra cycle. Or if you don't have enough villagers, that could be even 2 or 3 cycles.
Yeah, exactly.
Metal usually you have, because you want to have warriors, you're preparing.
I would kind of put this between C and D, but sure, we can put it at D tier, because this is...
It's just like C minus, D minus, but D plus maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's a D.
Yeah, okay, let's put it.
So, next card we have 4 cards left in the base game that we're gonna cover.
Yeah.
It's called Misleading Maps.
This is, this card. So, Misleading Maps basically means you get to skip a turn. So you skip the next turn. So, if you pull this one, you can still play your turn, but the next turn, nothing happens.
I mean, you get the resources that you planned previously, but the next one you're not getting anything actually, because you can't And
what's so bad about this? It gives your opponents chance to punish you
badly. Yeah. But I mean, late game, if you're already like big, it's not that bad. I think if you already have a lot of
on which
resources.
Because if someone is attacking you and you kind of need to build your pool of warriors, or you know that attack is coming,
and you can't even rearrange.
Yeah, and especially early game, this is you're so far behind from this card.
True.
So I would say this card is I would say it's
D tier as well.
Yeah, D tier, but it's
true though. I mean, yeah, because it has that much potential in the early game, it's not
Yeah.
scary to get this thing in
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah, so I would
But
say
the good thing is, again, like if it's in the middle game, let's say, and you have a strong player that he's like keeps expanding, and he gets this, that's your chance to come back.
yeah, it is.
So it's bad for others. So yeah, let's let's put it at the. I don't know what I wanted to say with that, by the way. All right, next card, and probably one of the most interesting cards in the game that
Yeah.
has actually a special token in the game by itself. It's a little orange cube.
Yeah.
It's called Blockade. You can see the infinite symbol on it because once you mark it, that area
Yeah.
or station or road, you can't traverse. You can't pass, you can't
Yeah.
attack. You have to go around it,
Yeah.
basically. And the description here says, mark a station that becomes impossible to attack.
Yeah. So this is a super unique card because this way, if you can kind of use it to protect yourself or to mark a specific spot to benefit it yourself. I would say this is super high up because it's such a unique card. But it's not S tier for me.
Is it S tier? I was gonna say, but I don't know, man. Because like at the same time, like imagine you are an expanding player.
Yeah.
Like I used this card once, and it was so overpowerful. I don't remember if I win that game though. To be honest, we do play a lot of games.
Yeah.
But I took the center. I took the blue farm. I got double the food, and then I block it.
Yeah.
So no one can take. People can of course kind of flank.
Yeah.
But actually, I think there's a capital between, so they have to kind of attack me first.
Yeah.
So for me, that's an S tier. Like, you're literally securing 20 food
Yeah.
for the whole game. Like,
Yeah.
that's...
Okay. Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Or you can also, I mean, probably you can use it to, like, make people go around the whole map.
Yeah.
So you become super secure if you just block the right path.
Yeah.
And then you build towers. Like, you turtle the shit out of
Yeah.
the game.
But at the same time, there's always ways around it. You can always go different paths. You can, for example, you can do different strategies to actually move around it. So it's a really strong card. But I wouldn't
Is it
say
S?
no. I would say it's an A+ card every day of the week.
I don't know, man. Sten, sax, påse på den. Which is rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Let's go.
2-1.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, again.
Yeah, okay. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Fuck.
So A+.
A plus. Let's go.
A+.
Can't believe I lost that.
Yeah, that's life.
That's life for you. All right. What do we have next up? Next up, we have
The sword card.
the sword that you talked about before.
So what
Maybe
sword...
the most iconic historical weapon, I think. I mean, in history.
Yeah. So basically, what the sword does, or the sword card does, is it gives you 1 to your dice in every combat. So I would say this is a super strong card because then it can technically mean that you can have 1 warrior and someone attacks you with 5 warriors and you can kill them all because you have the favor in your...
I mean, yeah, but it's kind of a 16% combat boost.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can be unlucky and just lose.
Sure.
I mean, it's a dice roll.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
So
But-
what just to make sure, what we basically said about this, and it's in the full game rules. If both parties does 6, it kills both players anyways.
Or actually, if you roll the same,
yeah, exactly.
if the dice is the same, then you remove both warriors at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a tie.
Yeah, exactly.
Both empires lose resources.
Yeah.
But since you can't roll above 6, that means it's kind of nerfed. And you can counter it with a tower. But if you don't have a sword, then of course you're always at a statistical disadvantage.
Yeah,
So you're losing the resource game, you're losing the wars, you're losing stations. But that also means it's a nice comeback card, because if you're really behind and you pull this, that's your chance.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way you come back. You start pushing warriors, you start taking control. What you can also do if you have the center, for example, if you build a tower and you have a sword, then suddenly you have +2 on the dice.
Yeah.
And that's that's huge.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
you need a lot of warriors if you're gonna push through that. You can be unlucky, of course,
Yeah.
but you can also have that one Spartan soldier that's against everyone and it just kills the whole army.
Exactly.
So that's what's. This is probably S tier.
Yeah,
for sure.
I would say S tier. Yeah.
Is it the best card in the game? Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I would say so, because this is strong in all
Situation.
parts, yeah.
It's just like a flat boost to.
yeah. So,
But again, if it's early game and you focused on economy and you have no warriors, it's not a guarantee that this will even benefit you.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's still S tier though.
I would say so. S tier.
Yeah. Let's put it S tier. Let's see. Next up, a really similar card, and maybe the only card to challenge the sword, is of course the shield.
Exactly. So it's basically the same benefit as the sword.
Yeah.
Except it's a shield.
Exactly.
But
I think the idea with this card is to basically, from a balancing standpoint, you want to have at least one tool card a chance to kind of equalize the terms.
Yeah.
So if one player has the sword, the other has the shield. But you can also be unlucky if one guy got sword and shield, and you're just hitting with clubs and
clubs,
if you have clubs and the other guys has shields and swords, you're screwed.
Yeah. So this, especially if you have the sword and shield, then it's S tier.
S tier. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes even more effective by the way.
Yeah. But the odds to pull both, it's...
it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! When you pull all the 5 Exodia cards,
Yeah.
the game just instantly ends. And it's a little bit like this.
Yeah.
All that said, though, since it's still a dice game, I mean, theoretically speaking, you can have a player that he continuously rolls 6 and 6.
Yeah.
And I think actually this happened to us once.
Yeah, exactly.
That even one person with so many stations and he still lost the game because the other player was just pulling 6s.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. But it can happen.
It can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so S tier.
S tier. Let's see. Alright, guys, that concludes all of the 28. Oh, wait, 28. 14 event cards, 14 tool cards, right?
Yeah,
28.
Yeah.
28 event and tool cards. That concludes the video.
Yeah, so basically, just to have some end notes here, this is our take on the tier list. This doesn't mean this is how the tier list should be. Also, what we're trying to make a game where we give everyone base set of rules. This is the base how you play the game, and you can tweak the game to your own preferences as well.
If you don't like certain cards, you can remove them. And we had one actually friend that suggested, for example, that maybe swords shouldn't be permanent. You can apply that rule when you're playing together with your friends, as long as you guys agree that the sword is for 3 combats or maybe for 4 turns. Anything you can change or experiment. Just have fun with it. That's the main idea.
Exactly. So also what I would say as well, if you have a copy of the game, comment on the video, maybe link your own tier list or pull out your own comments of the cards, and of course we can discuss it and review it, and hopefully
who knows, maybe in the second version, which eventually we're gonna make changes to the cards, of course, maybe in multiple languages. We're still considering, of course, it's a lot of work.
And also, as we said, there's expansions and things coming. So
the expansions
exactly.
Really
so that means
the game.
So that means there will be new cards and new things.
I can't wait to tell you guys the plans that we have.
So it's gonna be fun. Thanks for checking out the video, and
thanks for watching. Subscribe. Did you say that?
Okay, of course. Subscribe.